Welcome to the Bottle Poppin' Podcast, where Meg and Heather share their love for oils, friendship, and entrepreneurship. Let's get it poppin'.
Hey everyone, this is Meg.
Hi there, this is Heather.
And we are the Bottle Poppin' Podcast. So Heather, what are we popping open today?
We are popping open a bottle of clove oil. This one seems like it would be one that I wouldn't think about often. However, I feel like this oil gets used quite often. The primary way that we tend to use it in this house is for its numbing effects. I feel like if I've got any sort of dental discomfort or anything going on, I can put this just on a finger and touch the tooth, and it just kind of tooth around the tooth, and it just kind of creates a numbing effect that helps me move past that discomfort.
Yeah, I totally agree. When I was a kid, sometimes when we had tooth issues, my mom always had cloves like in the spice rack, and she would give us cloves to chew on. And so it's the same thing, but the oil definitely is much more effective and faster. And it was kind of hard to like chew on something when your tooth already hurts.
That feels like that would be gritty too.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely didn't bite through it. It's kind of hard, but yeah, it was just kind of like saliva chewing, I guess probably releases oils or something like that. So I've also used it just for like headaches and stuff, like when a headache was bad enough and it's just like, okay, I just want to be numb, like swipe it across the forehead.
It is a hot oil, so I do still have it on my finger. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and put it in my mouth from my finger just because, again, I really like the effect of it and the flavor of it, but for some people it might be a little extreme. So if you did want to take this one internally, you could always put it into like a veggie cap or something like that. So it's definitely hot. Like, I mean, right away you kind of feel the spice of it more than anything else.
Yeah. And I would say, flavor, it's just a spicy and not, I don't even know, I guess maybe because I'm in Texas, I think spicy hot is being like jalapenos or something like that. It's not that type of spicy hot.
No, it's almost just like a back heat to it more than anything else. But it does have a little bit of a sweet flavor attached to it too. It's very good. I really like clove a lot.
So what's funny is I did it on the thumb and then the roof of the mouth. And now the roof of my mouth is kind of numb. So I don't know if I'm going to talk a little different.
Yeah, well, that's why because I did it on my first finger, I kind of did it like behind my front teeth. And so, I taste it plenty. This is good for dental care stuff. So if you wanted to, we've done, for my kids, they don't necessarily want to put it directly into their mouth. So what I tend to do for them is I will take a little like glass of water, like a shot glass amount, put 1 drop of clove in it, have them swish the water around in their mouth, and then just spit it out. This is an On Guard, so you could just get the On Guard mouthwash and do the same effect if you wanted to. But to me, the clove is very direct and works great that way. So for me, I just press it where I want to, and for my kids, I'll just let them swish it around and then spit it out.
Yeah. And I mean, it's in the On Guard toothpaste too, which that's my favorite of the toothpastes. And I don't know, part of what I like about it, especially now that doTERRA has the clove toothpaste as well as the mint toothpaste. The mint is super cooling and I feel like it's awesome for the morning for waking me up. But I think there is something with the warming as well, brushing my teeth at night, that's like calming to my system. So yeah. This is another one as well that has a whole bunch of benefits that we can't talk about. So I definitely recommend, if you're listening to this and you have a reference book, go look up clove. It's pretty fascinating, the things that clove can do for you. If you don't have a reference book, we got you covered. So we have a free resource called the Reference Book Matchmaker, Essential Oil Reference Book Matchmaker. You can find the link in the description of this show and go put in your email address and we'll send you that as well. But yeah, this one's kind of fascinating to read through all the different things it can do. Just to give you an idea of the stuff it can do, it does say in the book I'm looking at right now that this is one of the most powerful antioxidants in the world. Both the spice, but then the essential oil, because it's more concentrated, it's even more high in the antioxidant levels because of the concentration with the oil. And so just thinking about how important antioxidants are for overall health, to have that in an oil is pretty awesome.
Yes, and even on doTERRA's website, it talks about how when you take it internally, it can be good for healthy digestion, nervous system, cardiovascular systems, and even healthy inflammatory responses. So internal use is really big with this one. However, it can be used aromatically, and I love this with fall scents. And so, we've talked a lot about you being raised with the oranges with the cloves. And so we can recreate that scent with just clove and wild orange in the diffuser, which is really good. It goes really well with cinnamon bark, but I love clove in the diffuser too. And aromatically, this is the oil of boundaries. And so I was looking at the Essential Emotions book, and it was talking about for people that have a hard time saying no, that this actually allows you to be able to do that a little bit easier. Makes you capable of making your own choices regardless of others and gets you out of victim mentality.
That's pretty awesome. That makes me think. I heard a podcast yesterday, and this had nothing to do with Clove, but kind of has to do with boundaries and specifically women. And I think we primarily have women listening to this as well. But apparently, the latest science shows that women going through perimenopause, part of that change in our bodies changes our brain to the point where we no longer have certain filters and our boundaries get stronger.
Oh, stronger,
And
not weaker. Okay.
yeah, they get stronger, but we also don't have filters, so we're more likely to speak up about what we believe, and we actually through that get to know ourselves better and become, I mean, maybe that's even part of the wisdom that comes with old age is getting rid of the filters but having the boundaries there. So I wonder how this plays along with that whole aspect.
Okay,
Well.
so we tend to go off on tangents. Apologies. We're going to go off the Clove here just a little bit. But related to what you were just talking about, I heard an interview with Naomi Watts yesterday, the actress. I guess she has a new book out, and her book is specifically about women going through menopause. And she was told at 36 years old that her body was already starting to go through menopause. And so she talks about kind of the stigmas that are around that, as well as just kind of the process of. But the big takeaway that I got from the conversation and that the person interviewing her was talking about was that she really emphasizes that she had to kind of get into the mindset that menopause was not necessarily this negative thing of this person she was becoming, but it was almost like this new chapter of herself and a new way to define herself. And so she kind of took it as a way of, closing the chapter on her younger previous self, and then now being able to learn about this new self that she was discovering. And it really put a positive spin on it versus I feel like all the negativity that comes around women and having to deal with menopause and how we might act or whatever. So I thought that was cool.
That's really cool. And what's interesting too is the negativity around menopause and perimenopause and all of that tends to be more of a American or even Western view. That's not a whole world view. There's tons of cultures that like this is a rite of passage and a big deal and things get better. So like it's interesting to think through that as well. But that's awesome. I'm going to have to go check out her book.
Yeah. So back to Clove.
Oh, is that what we're talking about?
Yeah. So we talked about internal use. We talked about aromatic. Meg mentioned that she has applied it topically for headaches and stuff. Because it is a hot oil, I would probably recommend diluting it if you were going to apply it topically. But this one can be used all three ways. It does have our handy little supplements facts box on the back, which makes you know which oils are safe to use internally too.
Yeah. And ironically, the main way that we use this oil is diffusing. And it's only because for many years now, I feel like at some point in the year, doTERRA gives Clove away as a free oil when you have your LRP set up, your loyalty rewards program set up. And so at one point, I think we had 6 or 7 bottles. And so my husband was just like, well, this is now the oil I diffuse. So oftentimes in our house, the whole upstairs just smells like clove. And I mean, I'm not complaining about it, but it's just funny. When I went to go pull the bottle, I was like, oh no, it's almost like we're running short. We only have 2 full bottles and a little left on this one. So he's definitely taken the task of running through these in the diffuser well.
I love it.
Yeah. All right. Well, anything else on Clove?
I think clove is a very useful oil. I think that everybody can have this on hand. This is actually one that sits in my kitchen, even though I don't use it very often for that way. You can use it for recipes and stuff. So that's another internal use there. But clove is very functional, and I really like all of the benefits that come with it.
Yeah, same. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening. We hope we got you intrigued about clove. If you have it, go open a bottle, smell it, try it for the numbing effects. And let us know what you think about it. Thanks so much for listening. We'll have a new episode for you next week.
Thanks for tuning in. For more information, you can follow these bottle poppin' ladies at bottlepoppinpodcast.com. Tune in next week to learn about what bottle we're poppin'. Until next time, take care. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This podcast is not intended to treat, diagnose, cure, or prevent any disease.